Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome. You are tuned into Take My Advice. I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on NBC News, CNBC News, and NBC Sports radio station KCAA, AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, Podchaser, iTunes, TuneIn, Tiki Live, Rumble, and more. Why so many places? Because I want to maximize the splatter zone for more hope and happiness, because I'm on a Happy 88 mission. 88 million more happy people in the next 8 years. So I bring topics and solutions and light and people who help me to that end. Today's no exception. If you've ever thought about your absolutely interesting and important matter called aging, you don't stop laughing when you grow old, but you grow old when you stop laughing. So that is the topic for today. And I have a great guest coming up after the break. Her name is Phylis Ayman, and she's going to be talking about aging life management. She's an ambassador for that. But before we go on break and welcome her in, I do have the regular Blisscipline that we have been doing since I got promoted to the morning daily show. And thank you for making it the number one 8 a.m. show in the IE. So we start with a bite of my gratitude sandwich. Those of you who haven't heard this before, it's a Happy 88 tool that will help you be happy 88% of the time. Starting the day instead of scrolling and going through the news, which is usually old and a weapon of mass distraction, as my big brother Michael Bernard Beckwith will call it. Instead of doing that, I'm replacing it with gratitudes. And Dr. Wayne Dyer says 5 specific things to be grateful for. Beloved, he's on the other side now, but I'm an overachiever, so I say 8 specific gratitudes that help you start your day in the most positive way. And because I am in Canada right now, and I'm doing this beforehand, I'm going to not ask you to type in the chat, but if you turn to the person near you and get them, solicit them to be your gratitude partner, you can go back and forth and say, I am grateful for, as specific as possible. So I am grateful for technology that allows me to pre-record shows so I can bring you a new show even when I'm in Canada. I am grateful that I get to visit my mom who has Parkinson's, and I haven't been able to do that since before pandemic. 3, I am grateful for the sound of music that I get to put on reels or whatever I'm making now. I love the way music just breaks our hearts wide open to feel even more. And 4, I'm grateful that I got asked to be a product designer. There's a specific word for it on Facebook, where I get to design reels for you that might make a little remuneration for my nonprofit, 8 Ways to Happiness from Wherever You Are. Speaking of which, if you shop on Amazon, please do use the Smile Amazon link and put in 8 Ways to Happiness, and then you'll help kids, teens, and young adults who have temporarily forgotten their birthright to happiness. Let's see, I think I'm on number 5. I'm grateful that I live in Southern California. 6, I'm grateful that I do Try as much as possible to practice what I teach and stay happy 88% of the time. 7, I know the power of my choice, that I can choose the best feeling thought. And finally, number 8, I'm grateful that you are here and that you know that when you feel not as good as you want to, or you want to have more positivity in your life, that you know how to tune in here. All right, so those are my 8 specific gratitudes that you can take on or create your own. And then on the other end of it, the bottom of the bun in the gratitude bun, is to list things that you appreciate about yourself. And every day before you go to bed, instead of thinking about all the things you haven't finished or all the things you need to do tomorrow and all the people that pissed you off and all the people you want revenge on, well, it's no wonder you can't fall asleep. So you're not going to do that. You are instead going to learn the practice of self-care and self-soothing. And I think and I know that if we did that as a class, or we started education on that early, we wouldn't have so many people running around looking for love in all the wrong places. Who loves me? How many likes? How many numbers? What's my number? Blah, blah, blah. All of that distracts from our ability to be happy 88% of the time. So I'm helping, hopefully, you at the end of the day to appreciate 3 things about yourself. It's actually 8, but we'll start with 3 here, so that we have time for my guest after the break. That is, I appreciate that I am funny, and I appreciate that I love to play with words, and I appreciate that I have a keen sense of taste and that I can enjoy really good tasting coffee and really good tasting food. So that is the take a bite of my gratitude sandwich that I practice every morning with you on the show. And don't go away. When we come back, I have a special guest for you. I did meet her in San Diego at Secret Knock, which is Greg Reed's amazing, fantastic event that he brings. And I've been a speaker there, and he brings great speakers. If you missed my interview with Carol Baskin, yes, Tiger Kings, and I actually got to interview her backstage, and I did go into that thinking that she may have fed her husband to the tigers, but definitely by the end of the interview, I absolutely know that she did not. So you'll want to get that on my YouTube, which is a free subscribe, as well as other things on my YouTube channel, like all of my 689 shows, and also my red carpet playlist with interviews with Melissa Etheridge. Thank you for all the nice comments. I put that one on my reel with the Presidente Fox from Mexico, with Quincy Jones, my favorite. I wish he would just ask me out. And then also Halle Berry and John Travolta. So I'm really appreciative and grateful for all of the great people that I've gotten to meet as an occupational hazard of this show. So when we come back, if you're at all interested in aging and the topic of aging, and I'm ageless, so I'm not as interested because I just ignore it. But if you are, I have a guest. Her name is Phylis Ayman, and she'll be coming on very soon to talk to me about aging. And she's the ambassador for Aging Life Management. That's when we come back here on Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It, Get Balance with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KZAA, the station that leaves no listener behind.
Well, she has been dubbed the Asian Oprah, and she just wants all of us to be happy.
Dr. Marissa, aka the Asian Oprah, says the most important thing you can choose is choosing to be happy.
You are tuned into my weekly talk radio TV show called Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa.
That's the idea for Dr. Marissa Pay's new book called 8 Ways to Be Happy.
Many of us say, I am my own worst critic. Nobody's harder on me than I am. And my response to that is, stop it! Why are you doing that to yourself? You have to be your biggest fan, because if you can't at the end of the day say, I did a good job, who is? We don't have to constantly be angry at the things that are wrong. Why don't we choose to be happy about things that are right? We have the choice. That's our muscle. And life is so amazing if we can see it.
Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And we're back. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa. The morning show here on KCAA, NBC News Radio, AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, and my YouTube channel, where you can get red carpet playlists, including interviews with Halle Berry, John Travolta, Quincy Jones, and more to enjoy. So free subscribe, and you'll get an alert at 8 a.m. every weekday morning when a new show drops, especially while I am in Canada, in Toronto now, visiting my mom who has Parkinson's and spending a little time with her. But I wanted to bring you some new shows, so you'll get those every weekday morning on my YouTube channel and airing through KCAA, my NBC News Radio channel. And as promised, here is my practice called Balanced Tai Chi Go, and this is a little introduction to it. And after it plays, I'll come back and describe a couple of things to you and maybe teach you a form or two so you can practice at home. Enjoy.
Welcome to Balanced Tai Chi Go. My name is Dr. Marissa Pay. For the next 28 minutes, we will be slow dancing with the universe in a moving meditation that promotes inner peace, one breath at a time. Just follow the sound of my voice and move with me as I guide you through this ancient wisdom through New Thought practice. As a corporate psychologist, I created this practice in response to my life and those of my clients. We were professional, high achievement-oriented, multitasking control freaks and exhausted. No matter how many successes, it was never enough. That, coupled with a painful life experience, led me on a quest to find another way to live and back to my Chinese roots. If you practice regularly, I can promise you that it will impact all health vortexes, body, mind, spirit, soul. You will be in a place of balance and inner peace the way we were created. 谢谢.
Be my partner, dance with me, just hold on, I will.
I hope you enjoyed that. It is actually also known as Chinese yoga, and I'm going to just teach you the acknowledgement that we do at the beginning of the practice and at the end of the practice. So you get to learn a little Chinese as well. This is the fighting hand, traditionally, in martial arts. So we close the fighting hand to show we come in peace. And then we hold the peace, so it's like an A, and you bring it down to your heart chakra. You make a little bow and say, xie, xie. Xie, xie. S-H-E-A, not S-H-I-T. And that's Mandarin for thank you. And I use that as like a namaste in yoga. The divine in me recognizes the divine in you. So whenever you're going to begin or end this practice, you take a deep breath in through the nose and release. Ah, good. And then you take your arms up and then come down and say, xie, xie. And that's how we start and end the practice. So if you would like to augment your meditation practice that you probably have already, or if you are someone who can't sit still for meditation, then this practice might be for you. You can get it as a download at my website, drmarissa.life. And today, because I'm introducing it, I would like to give a free download to the first person who goes to drmarissa.life and puts in the subject line Chinese yoga. And you will get a promo code for a download of that so that you can practice on your own. But if you're in Southern California, then you're going to join my class every last Saturday of the month. So the next one is May 28th. So I will see you. If you Google Plunge Restaurant, we're right in front of Plunge Restaurant. It's Cherry and Ocean in Long Beach, California. Go sign up at drmarissa.life. And the great thing is the sign up or the tuition is $20 donation to my nonprofit called 8 Ways to Happiness from wherever you are. And that helps kids, teens, and young adults who have temporarily forgotten their birthright to happiness. So you'll be helping me with that, and you will get a class and a download. So hope to see you. That is the next class, May 28th. It's also listed on Facebook. If you're not with me on social media and you enjoy my hashtag positively opinionated self, then you'll want to go to Doc Balance on Instagram, Dr. Marissa Pay on Twitter and LinkedIn and Facebook. And the cool thing is I just got invited to be a digital creator on Facebook. So go watch my reels and enjoy them. All right. Now, when we come back, it's that interview with Phylis Ayman. And so don't go away. We'll be right back with more of Take My Advice. I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind.
Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome back. You're tuned into Take My Advice. I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on CNBC and NBC News Radio channel KCAA, AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, and my YouTube channel, where you can get all past, where are we now, 690 something shows. We just celebrated 9 years, unbelievable, and I'm so grateful to all those who have supported along the way. And you know that this show is about hope and happiness, so there's no gossip, no scandal, no K-words, no Kanye talk at all. Instead, I want you to focus on your own reality show and how you can be happy 88% of the time. So I have topics and guests who help you to that end. And today is no exception. Her name is Phylis Ayman, and she took her experience from working as a speech language pathologist in over 50 nursing homes, where she worked with thousands of residents and their families, to become the ambassador for aging life management. She guides people to develop mindful longevity solutions so they can live healthfully, gracefully, and happily, and make the best and most informed choices for themselves and their loved ones as they age. She hosts the podcast Senior Straight Talk on the Voice America Influencers channel, syndicated on the Voice America Influencers channel, and can be found on popular podcast platforms. Please welcome to my studio, Phylis Ayman. And welcome, Phyllis. Thank you for visiting my virtual studio and coming to talk about a very important topic called aging.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Marissa, for that wonderful introduction and for having me. It's such a pleasure to be able to be on your show, The Asian Oprah. I love it.
Yes, and I don't know if I told you the story. A lot of people assume that I made that up as a name. I actually was honored to be introduced to Oprah as the Asian Oprah by my big brother, Michael Bernard Beckwith, the founder of Agape International Spiritual Center. So that's how I got the name, in case you were wondering. And her only response was to look at me, look down, look back up, smile, and say, "Nice pants." And it took everything for me not to say, "Do you want them?" But I didn't do that.
I love
All
it.
right. So you have quite the experience with something that not a lot of us like to talk about, not a lot of us like to admit. I know that I say that I'm ageless because of that saying, better to be thought a fool than to open your mouth and confirm it. Better to be thought young than to open your mouth and disconfirm it. So that's why I'm ageless, and that's the story I'm sticking to.
Okay.
But,
if you'll allow me to, I'd like to comment on that ageless story.
Absolutely.
Because I really don't believe in that ageless concept, because who here really, listeners, observers, who here isn't aging, or who thinks they're not aging or they're not going to age? The answer to that is no one, right? Because the alternative is certainly not something that we're looking forward to, right? So aging really is a progression towards being an elder person with wisdom and life experiences that you can share with other people. And so I came to this really after working in 50 nursing homes with thousands of people. I stepped out of that space and realized that people haven't been valued for who they've been in their lives and where they are now in their lives. I got a chance to really experience that. And so I really wanted to take it from that place into the world in a more general way.
Beautiful. So this methodology of aging that you're talking about, you're an ambassador for that. So what does that mean?
Well, aging life management. So I encourage people to really take charge of their life process as they advance in years, right? Because if you're not doing that, you're really just surrendering to whatever happens to you. So if you really take charge of your life management, your aging life management process, right? You are in more control. You have choices. You can make choices that make you happy, that make you fulfilled, right? As opposed to just, being kind of on the sidelines and, if the rain falls, it falls on you, right? Just letting whatever happened to you happen to you. So I really encourage people to take charge of their aging process, advance in years with gusto, with appreciation. See what you can do with your years and who you are as you continue to advance in life.
Can I ask you how young you are?
I am 69 years of age.
All right.
I'm proud of it. You know, I had an opportunity to listen to a presentation, right? I actually arranged the presentation, but that's not important, for Dr. Bill Thomas a few weeks ago at a place where I thought people could really benefit from his wise words. And he said something that really I hadn't heard him say before, and I really thought about that we are the person we're supposed to be at whatever age we are. And our faces and our bodies are the way they're supposed to be at whatever age we are. Of course, we have input into that. And what he suggested was that we embrace this idea that we're aging magnificently. And everyone there just loved it, and so did I.
Beautiful.
So I am 69 years of age.
And magnificently embracing it.
Absolutely, right? With my, listen, you and I have something similar, just visually. We both have this asymmetrical hairstyle, right? I just did mine, and I left the part of the side that's shorter gray to show my station in life, but felt that I really embraced being a redhead as part of my personality. And I didn't really want to give that up, but I didn't want people to not see me for who I was and where I am in life.
Wonderful. Now, as all of your experience in nursing homes, I think you said it was 50 nursing homes. That's a lot.
Over 50, yep.
Yeah. So how did that lead you to the message and the path and the process that you're in now?
Well, because I worked with so many people who I felt weren't being valued or recognized, you know, there's this, as you said, most people don't even want to talk about aging, and they don't really want to see older people. And I think we've made it convenient in our society, kind of, for a lot of people, they move into these spaces and they're kind of out of sight, out of mind. So after a career that spans about 45 years, I said, you know, how can I really take this for people to appreciate who these people are? And when I started looking at it, we really, except for the people in our families or our friends who maybe we love and adore, we think they're cute, or maybe they're not so cute, but we still love and adore them, right? But other older people, not so much. So that's really what got me thinking about how can I take this message to, you know, the larger, you know, our larger society, right? To inspire a conversation about really that older people should be valued. And other cultures, they certainly are very different in this country, right?
It is. You know, the assumption, I know my mom struggles with it as a Chinese woman, that my brother, the oldest son, would take her in, right, instead of having her in an assisted living. And it was really difficult for her to accept that because of her culture. And our culture is different. And the expectation is not part of our thing. So, you know, you're right. The cross culture is definitely different from one end to the other. Now, when you were in those nursing homes, was there anybody in particular who sort of made you think, you know, I can help with this to make aging less of a struggle? Or on the other side, was there someone who was a positive example of aging that you thought, now let me share her secret or his secret with others?
Well, what I will say is this, and I have a chapter coming out in a book in a few weeks. I kind of touch on that a little bit. It's no one in particular, really. But what I found, like even when I turned 50 or mid 50s, and I would meet somebody who was, let's say, 75 or 80, and they would ask me, because you generally have to ask them what age they are, and they'll say, you know, they'll ask me my age, and I'll say, well, I'm nearer to you than further. And when I would tell them my age, they would say, you're just a kid. And it really got me thinking about the relative perspective and relationship of age. And because at 69, I've met people that are 90 that, to them I am, because when they were 21, I was just born. So I am still a kid, and they have all those years of experience. And what I said in this chapter was that some of the people with the deepest wrinkles and the most lines had the most wisdom to share. And that's really kind of something that inspired me to really think about the fact that we don't honor those people. There's also another, years ago, there was, I think it was at the Academy Awards, and I believe it was Kirk Douglas. And but without saying who it was, not knowing who it was, let's say, here this person come out, he had had a stroke and he was in a wheelchair, and he came on the stage, and the audience erupted, and they stood up and they applauded, and with cheers and recognition of his life's work. And I remember watching that and hearing him struggle to speak and thinking, gee, in another venue, he would just be this older person who had difficulty speaking, sitting in a wheelchair, and nobody would pay attention. That really stayed with me. So all of these people, they've had a life, they have a lot to share. And shouldn't we be embracing our own life? I was just at an event Friday, and this woman stood up, a very attractive woman. She was, it was a networking event, and she was the host for this venue. And she stood up and she started talking and made a reference to herself as being old. And I was shocked. First of all, she was beautiful, but I didn't see the reason for the comment. And I spoke with her afterwards, and she said, well, I'm 49. I'm going to be turning 50. And well, I started talking to her about all this, and I told her about this idea about aging magnificently. You should have seen the change in her posture, in how, her facial expression. She loved it. And I think if people could really take that in, they may think of themselves differently, because it really weighs on our mind and on our person. There's a new book that just came out about that, a lot of research based on what those concepts do to us.
Beautiful. Yeah, the research is really clear that the thoughts now that you hold will affect your physical body. I think that was just a theory or maybe that, but now it's very clear that what we're thinking does affect our bodies and the way we see ourselves. Absolutely. So this is a just in time direction for sure.
And let me just tell you something I shared with her that she loved, because we all, I'd say 90% of people kind of experience this when they get to a certain stage. I'm not even going to say age. They sometimes need glasses for reading or for some aspect of their life that they didn't need glasses for previously. And what I said to her when she said, well, I still have to wear these glasses, I said, well, you're just looking at life through a different lens. So it's just, if we could reframe our thinking, you talk about happiness and positivity and how that impacts us. So it's not easy to reframe your thinking, but I think we have to start to do that around aging as well.
Absolutely. And if you're wondering who I'm talking to today, her name is Phylis Ayman. She is giving us some information. She's educating and edutaining you on aging and the importance of different mindsets and different ways of seeing aging that will make the sunset years more like sunrise. And she's going to come back and talk about this is a empathy, which has a little trademark sign. So we're going to come back and talk about that, as well as a mindful longevity plan. That's when we come back here on Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It, Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, The Morning Show on KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind.
Hi, this is Dr. Marissa reporting live with your Mental Health Minute because I want you to feel better right now. Sometimes we are unhappy because we think that people should help us or be nice to us or be kind to us or do things for us because that's what they're here for. And unfortunately, that BS, that belief system will lead you to greater unhappiness and more frustration. Don Miguel Ruiz, the best-selling author of 4 Agreements and one of my past guests, says that everyone is the lead actor in their own play. Everyone else is not your supporting actor because they're the lead actor of their own play. So the expectation that people should be doing something for you will always lead you to a place of frustration. So the more that you can take responsibility for your own happiness and not depend on others to provide it for you, the better off you're going to be, and definitely the more happy. So I want you to practice self-approval. I know that a lot of us have our little antenna up looking for who loves me, who likes me, how many likes am I getting, who's saying nice things, and that is definitely going to lead us to unhappiness. Instead, if you can take a breath and say, what have I done well today? And I know that all of us can at least do one thing. And if we approve of that ourselves, we are less likely to go to the tractor for milk. And you know, tractors don't give milk. That's what happens when we look to others for our approval. And that's it for your Mental Health Minute from Dr. Marissa, your personal cheerleader to happiness 88% of the time.
Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome back. You are tuned into Take My Advice. I'm Not Using It, Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on NBC News Radio, KCAA, AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, and more. And at my YouTube channel, if you free subscribe, you will get past interviews with lots of great guests. Fran Drescher talking about how to prevent your risk of cancer. Corey Feldman, Marion Ross, Happy Days. So plenty of things to watch, as well as my interviews with Halle Berry and John Travolta. So enjoy those. It's a free subscribe. And if you go to drmarissa.life today, the Asian Oprah giveaway is a free audiobook copy of my #1 bestseller, 8 Ways to Happiness, from wherever you are. So go to drmarissa.life. In the subject line, put in ageless, and that will be your keyword to a free audiobook. And why ageless? Because we're talking about aging and how to age more than just gracefully, but magnificently, with author, advocate, catalyst for change, Phylis Ayman. Welcome back to the show, Phyllis. And let's talk about your, I don't even know if I'm saying it correctly. It's called empathy instead of empathy. What are you talking about with that?
So thanks again. This has been so great. So several years ago, I was doing a presentation, and I was having people do an exercise, and we were talking about self-empathy. empathy. And I've seen that written about in places. And I thought that was kind of awkward. And through the process of conversation, someone said, well, it's like being empathetic inwardly. And so I played around with it and I came up with this word, empathy, I-M-P-A-T-H-Y. But the letters actually stand for words that are part of a self-care commitment letter. So the I and the M are I'm, and the P is present, A is active, T is thankful, H is healthy, and the Y is how you sign a letter. Yours truly, me.
Wow, that's awesome. Lots of great words in there, very positive, right up my life alley.
Right.
So, is this a practice that you suggest people go through?
Absolutely. So I have a course that goes along with it. And the course, has different modules that cover each of those areas. But what I tell people is you have to make this commitment to self-care. That's your commitment really to self-happiness, is your commitment to self-care. They really do go hand in hand, right? Mm-hmm. And, kind of when I thought about it in terms of happiness, I'll tell you where that came from. So I was doing this exercise with people where I had them close their eyes and think of something that made them happy and or satisfied, or they looked forward to, whatever it was, joy, and have them, that feeling swell up inside of them until they smiled, right? Mm. And a lot of people couldn't do it. Some people wouldn't even try. Mm. That was an amazing thing to me. How many people are not able to connect with anything inside of themselves that makes them feel happy?
Mm-hmm. But let's get real for a second. I'm going to put the moose on the table, which is my Canadian version of elephant in the room. When people age normally, they lose capacities in their physical body just from wear and tear. Whether I've had 2 hip replacements and I'm not old, but I just had to have it done for some weird reason. I have hips of a 90-year-old. I was told bone on bone, so I had that done. But, watching my mom who has Parkinson's and is just physically in pain, in discomfort, watching my bonus parents, although they're super healthy, very positive mindset, which has led to almost 93 and almost 90 for both of them. And she still sells crafts in a local fair, and he still writes articles with me and takes her, everywhere. And so, but I'm watching, the hearing is going, the eyesight, my bonus mom's eyes, she can't see. And it's hard to watch. And I can't even imagine how difficult it is to feel in and of yourself. So when you're watching yourself literally fall apart, how can you say, oh, I'm aging magnificently? Or how can I find it in myself, as you're saying, to conjure up something positive?
Well, that's a great question. And those are great examples. I'm not saying, and just as you say about being happy 88% of the time, right? So those aren't the most positive experiences, but they also experiences that are part of life, and no different than the person who maybe some accident befalls them and they're a quadriplegic or a paraplegic, or they lose their eyesight or whatever it is, and yet finds a way to find the positive in that and to continue living in an enriched way. So I think that people, rather than looking at these situations as disabilities and what they can't do, try and look at the things that they are still able to do. And maybe it's they're able to give their loved ones a hug, or impart some valuable wisdom or explain what that process is like to someone who's maybe just beginning that journey and needs to hear from somebody who's walked that path. I think that we just have to, see what we can do and continue to see what we can do with what we can do, as opposed to looking at what we lost. And what I tell people about this empathy, right, is, and this self-care, is the place to begin is within, and the time to begin is now. It's never too late to do that. It doesn't matter what age you're at. There are still things you can do to embrace self-care that will lead to happiness. It might be that you've decided to meditate 5 minutes every day and find some peace and solace, and that brings you tremendous happiness. It doesn't have to be what you did 10 years ago or 15 years ago, or what you were able to do yesterday. That can change in a moment.
So is meditation one of your mindful longevity solutions?
Absolutely. And we know from the research that meditation, quieting your mind, being in quiet with yourself, and quieting your thoughts and bringing peace to yourself has tremendous benefits for your well-being. And of course, there are other aspects to it. Like when I say healthy, I just don't mean about eating or movement. There are so many other aspects to being healthy. And we talked about being positive. How do you change the way you think about things so it does have the words are more positive that you use, and the words that we say affect how we feel. So there are many different aspects to the course. Has to do with really mindfulness and exercise and nutrition and sleep, which is very important, and appreciation, because as we know, and as Oprah has said, how important gratitude is. She used to have a gratitude journal. She said that she did every day. And when she opened the curtains in the morning for her bedroom, she always thought about what she was thankful for that day. So that's a very important ingredient to our own happiness. We can find joy and happiness and thankfulness in really very small things. And that has a lot to do with how we feel about ourselves. Wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. Is she preaching to my choir? I think so. So how do people find you and these modules and your new book that's coming out? Talk about that for a minute.
Okay, so the new book is called Think Big. And I have a chapter in that book. I'm proud to be in a book with Brian Tracy and Bob Bodine. I'm very excited about that. It should be coming out May 17th. It's published by Kyle Wilson. So that's very, very exciting. And there are some other high profile celebrity authors in there, as well as other people who are not at that level yet, like me. But it's just all wonderful. And we write our stories about what we think about, what our goals are, and what big visions that we have. And then my website, www.phyllis, Phyllis, Ayman, Ayman, associates with an S.com is the best place to find me there. And my podcast, Seniors Straight Talk, on the Voice America Empowerment Channel and syndicated on the Voice America Influencers Channel. And I have a blog, so that's on my site as well. That comes out every week. It's called The Seniorscape. So there are lots of different ways, and people could always get in touch with me. They can email me at Phyllis@PhyllisAymanAssociates.com or reach out to me and set up an appointment for a call. And I'd love to chat with anybody about aging and how to enhance their happiness and find solutions as they age so that they could live longer happily, healthfully, and gracefully.
Beautiful. I just put the website up on the moving ticker tape, so you want to make sure that I put it down there correctly. So I'm sure if you Google Phylis Ayman, you'll be able to see it as well. but she has a new book coming out, Think Big, and some modules that are available at her site. Is that how it's Phylis Ayman and Associates.com?
Phylis Ayman, Phylis Ayman Associates.com.
That's why I asked you to look.
And that's why I had to put on my glasses.
Yes, you did. All right. Any other pearls of wisdom you would like to drop before, where I knew we would get out of time pretty quickly because we're both so shy and don't have anything to talk about. Sarcasm is another service I offer.
Right. Me too. Being a New Yorker, it comes very easily to me.
Yeah.
I just tell people that they should embrace their aging journey and be willing and open to share their experience and their wisdom from their elderhood years, because that's a gift they could give to anyone and everyone. And that really doesn't cost much, right? And do it with a smile. I say a smile is the most affordable accessory that goes with every outfit. When you smile, you actually have feelings of happiness inside yourself, and you share that with someone else. So that's pretty simple. And the place to begin is within, and the time to begin is now.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Phyllis. I always ask my guests one last question, and that is, to who or what are you most grateful for? To who or what are you most grateful for? And before you came on, what I do is I actually ask people to take a bite of my gratitude sandwich. So I am following my honorable moniker as the Asian Oprah in instituting gratitude as a daily portion of the show. But you didn't know because you came on after the first segment. So just to let you know. But now I'm asking you, to who or what are you most grateful for?
I would say that I am grateful for the wealth of experiences that I've had that have gotten me to this point. And what I'm grateful for is that I can share it with others. I think it's the greatest gift to be able to share it with others and have others feel better about themselves. So I wouldn't have gotten here without all of the experiences that brought me to this point. So I have to be grateful for all of them, positive, negative, big and small. And I'm grateful that I met you at this wonderful event in San Diego and that we're here talking about this. So how great is that?
It is great. Thank you so much, Phyllis. This is Dr. Marissa reporting live from her loving room during the pandemic. Go forth and multiply the magnificence that you are. And Phyllis, I do this at the end of every show. If you would join me, it goes peace in, peace out, world peace through inner peace.
I love it.
And now go forth and have the best day ever. We'll see you tomorrow.